best.
A woman who eluded the FBI for 2 decades after fleeing the country with her daughter is now telling her story. Dorothy Lee Barnett and her daughter Savannah were found in Australia after a worldwide search.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel here. It's Lavender here. Today I'm back with another true crime case. Today I'm doing the true crime case, the story of Dorothy Barnett and Savannah Barnett, the disappearance and case story. Basically, what happened was they basically ran for the law and they got caught. And I'm gonna just tell the story really fast because this is a really long ass story. So let's get started into this video. So this true crime case has been featured in a number of media and TV. I can't remember the name of the true crime, TV show, but it was in a documentary on Investigating Discovery. I watched the whole thing, and I'm not gonna lie, I watched the whole entire thing, and after seeing the whole story in the news and media and watching the documentary, I'm 100% on the mom's side in this. So let's get started into the story. So here we go. So Dorothy, which is what the mom was called, and her husband were complete opposites, basically. The husband was quiet. The wife, Dorothy was outgoing. The husband didn't want children at all. She wanted children. When her friends got wind of her wanting to get married to this man, they disagreed with it because they saw they were complete opposites. They had nothing in common. There were red flags. When asked why she married someone who didn't want children and why they were complete opposites, Dorothy was quoted saying, "I didn't know. I just thought that I was going to do something and it would change him. That we'd have this, happy, wonderful family life in the suburbs kind of life like you see on those TV shows. I had just had this crazy dream that I'd make everything right at the end," she replied. And was quoted saying, when she did get pregnant, her husband was in complete denial about it. Again, he didn't want kids. She was later quoted, the mom was later quoted saying, "I said to him that I have a feeling I might be pregnant, and he said, it's okay, just have an abortion." She really wanted this marriage to work out at the end. Unfortunately, it did not. However, that included going to marriage counseling. Barnett's mother suggested a psychiatrist named Dr. Oliver. Lee had said to her, to surprise that her husband agreed to go. "I made the appointment for both of us," said Barnett. Barnett said what happened and those appointments would change her life. She walked in hoping it would save her marriage to her husband. Instead, she walked out with a diagnosis on the bipolar spectrum. The doctor in this case said she had some type of mental disorder, a condition characterized by dwelling, blaming, and temper tantrum outbursts. It was a condition he wanted to treat with medication. She was asked if her family had any history of mental illness, and she replied, my family had never had any history of mental illness. The doctor prescribed an antipsychotic drug. The mom talked to the doctor friend who said it was an antipsychotic drug and advised her not to take it because she didn't have a mental illness. Her husband and her own mother turned against her and contacted the doctor again. Before she even heard this doctor's name, she was under the impression that her husband in particular didn't know this doctor, but he and the mom had already met this doctor. The husband had claimed that he was only trying to get help for his poor wife, but she believes that her husband was setting her up, spinning an elaborate tale of unstableness, wife with a violent temper, and convincing her own mother of it. Basically, long story short, her husband was a narcissistic person who wanted and could manipulate everyone around him to make it look like his wife is crazy and unstable, aka gaslighting, it's a form of abuse. Barnett admitted she did get angry enough to throw planters off the porch and push over the coffee table, but she said that her husband was the threatening one, the true threatening one, making menacing, threatening phone calls throughout the entire pregnancy. He would say and call her saying, "You're sick, you're insane." Even her own friend had caught on to this and was overheard hearing this. In 1994, her and her husband were in the midst of a divorce. When she wanted to get a divorce, there was a bitter custody battle where her ex-husband, judge, put the doctor that she had spoken to, that she had no idea that her husband was in contact with, as a witness on the witness stand. And basically the husband was calling his ex-wife deranged in this case. And on February 18, 1994, the corrupt judge, awarded full custody of 9-month-old Savannah to her father, Harris Todd. The victim's friends, the mom, were shocked at this verdict, that a corrupt judge would do this and be corrupt like that so openly. She said she worried most about this case. The verdict was that her ex-husband said that if he even saw any type of mental illness that his ex-wife had, he would take the daughter immediately to a psychiatrist. The couple's 11-month-old daughter, Savannah, vanished. The police thought she was holed up somewhere in a local hotel in the city where they were at. However, she was already out of the country because Dorothy had secured a passport and birth info from someone on the street. There was a documentary on this on 60 Minutes on how to get government papers illegally. The disappearance launched an internal search for Dorothy and Savannah that didn't end until they caught her in Queensland, Australia in 2013. A quote from the investigator, the FBI, who were looking for her, said that most fugitives mess up, make mistakes by contacting their family members. In this case, it never happened. She cut ties from everyone. Dorothy had fled her home in Charleston, South Carolina, and headed to Europe, where she said she spent time in Germany, France, and then an Asian country in Malaysia, Singapore, and later ended up spending most of her time in South Africa and in Botswana, and later at the end, before she got caught in Australia and Queensland. They changed their names completely while they're on the run. Savannah's mother, kept a diary for her daughter, planning one day to tell her about the whole story of her whole life and the events that led up to the whole situation. That changed in 2011 when the FBI got a tip that Dorothy was living in Queensland, Australia, because she told the wrong person who she really was, and they talked and spilled the beans, and there was a knock on her door in 2013. The daughter, Savannah, ended up getting an interview about her case and quoting words from it. She said to the news and media, "A few months before my mom gave birth to me, she started writing a diary, and it starts off with the first page saying, 'My dear Savannah, someday I'll give this journal to you that you can hopefully someday understand, aka your mother. My name is Savannah Golensey. I was born Savannah, but I didn't know that. Savannah Lee Barnett. I grew up on the Sunshine Coast in Australia. It is the most magnificent place.' She's written, 'I've always loved the name Savannah. It reminds me of great beauty. It also reminds me of my home, and someday it'll be hopefully yours too.' The endless reads, the shrimp, the blue herons were quoted from that. Her mother, Dorothy, Savannah's mother, Dorothy, ended up getting married to a South African man. Soon Savannah had a baby brother named Reese, and the family moved to Botswana later on. She was quoted saying, 'We had giraffes walking outside our door in the streets, and buffalo and all that African sort of stuff around the river that you'd see on a safari. It was really just fun all the time.' She was quoted saying, her father, the guy that's a narcissist, Todd, also went on national TV during this time, determined to keep his daughter in the news, as well as her mother, who, according to him, was a very mentally ill person and very violent, capable of hurting Savannah. And the husband of her in South Africa, if I'm correct, he had died of cancer later on, but before that, he fell in love with someone else, so they got a divorce. But they were still in good contact. There's no beef. They just fell out of love, basically. And I think he later died. And the mother, on the day she got caught, was on the telephone at 7:30 a.m. in the morning, and there was a big pounding at the door. She was still in her pajamas, and she opened the door, and there was a police officer there standing with guns, and he said, "I'm here with the arrest warrant for your arrest." She had finally again made the mistake of telling someone she shouldn't have told about the situation. She used her real name. The daughter, Savannah, did not believe all the bogus claims her father made about her mom being bipolar and wanting to hurt her, and how she was so unstable she would hurt, her. She said her mother never harmed her at all the entire time on the run from the law. The mom acknowledged she broke the law by basically, getting fake passports, but said she's not guilty of kidnapping. She was later quoted saying, "No law was broken when a corrupt court system that took that baby away from me and took my baby away from, me, I'm a mother, away from me," she replied. Basically, to sum it up, Savannah's dad is a narcissist man who wanted revenge against his ex-wife for getting a divorce, and showed his true colors. Because at the end of the day, when Savannah just wanted to see if she can have a relationship with her dad, like, he had not met her for 19 years, right? And when he finally met her, all he did was show a 2.5-hour tour of his house, just showing off all his prized possessions and achievements. Like, who does that if they truly, really, want their daughter back? It's just weird. And after 5 months in jail, the mom, Dorothy, realized she didn't have the money or firepower to fight the U.S. government. She pleaded guilty to all the charges, including kidnapping. She was sentenced to 20 months in prison with credit for time served. If I'm correct, she's out now. The son has moved from Australia, I think, to the United States. If I'm correct, the daughter, in this case, the whole controversy, Savannah, still lives in Australia. So if you guys like this video, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Bye guys, next video.